stock size what we got here is 3/4 of an inch rebar. That's about 20 mil round, or rebar size. Those of you who follow me know that I do material tests before I make anything out of it, so I know that this rebar is fine. This is that pair of tongs you'll see me forge out of that bit of rebar, and the style, if I'm not mistaken, is called the farrier style. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong. This is something that comes from J Sharp, but at the very least this is a style that I see a lot with the farriers. And if you want to ask me what this style is for, if it does anything, I'm only aware that it is for aesthetics. I do find them a lot more pleasing than the standard tongs. The goal is to have a pair of tongs that can hold onto the bloomery steel so I can more easily manipulate it, rather than using other tongs that don't fit too exactly or too great. Because I don't have a drawing, I don't have the volume calculation, and really I don't need the volume calculation. It would be good if you make a specific piece, a specific size for a specific customer. In this case it just has to hold the stuff that I want it to hold, and anything else pretty much more fancy, a bit bigger, a bit smaller, a bit thinner, a bit thicker, I don't really care too much about. So what I'm going to take is, I'm going to do an estimation, and I'm going to start with the box jaw first. This bit's got to be quite a bit beefy. You got to watch out this doesn't become too thin on the inside, and if you don't really put a very very crisp corner on the inside there, because if that gets too sharp you could get a stress fracture in there. If we fold it out, we know that we got some sort of T shape, so that's what we need to make out of it. I would like to have some extra material in there so that that jaw is strong. It's going to make it last a lot longer, so you don't have to remake it at some point in time. We have our box jaw, we have the jaw attachment. We have about, should be a bit more here actually, so 3 times for the boss where the rivet is going to be, and then everything below here is going to be a rein. If I take this much, this should be more than plenty if I draw this out. This is going to give me plenty of length. The numbers, Joey, the numbers, yeah, the numbers. Okay, oh, that's coincidental. We're looking at about 8 inches or so. 8 inches or about 20 centimeters, that should do more than plenty. That should give you enough material for this area. It should give you enough for this area, enough for the boss, and then everything underneath here that's going to be drawn out. There's plenty of material in that. I'm not going to forge the other one really yet, because I want it to be sized to the box jaw, not the other way around. I'm not particularly going to look for chances, so I'm going to just set it up to 20 centimeters, 8 inches. That's going to be fine. So that's set up. Okay, where are we? Say about there. This cutter part really doesn't seat the best. You can see it jumps a little bit. I need to make one with a longer shank. Okay, good. The heat is already in here, so I'm going to upset this end. This anvil does have an upsetting block, but this is too short, so I'll do it on the face. That is more than plenty of material. I do not really care about the asymmetry. The only thing that matters is that I have the mass in there. Well, now that I have enough, I can grab it from the other end and I can start drawing it out. Okay, good. Then we can move on to working your jaw. Okay, let's start with this, about this much. You can always take more. What I can do then is bring it over here and make the offset. So we were here, I'm going to turn it 90 degrees, just barely at that transition, and then hammer it flat. And that should leave you with a little something like this. Okay, we bring it here. I'm going to hold it in such a way that I can hold it like this and try and hit like that. There. Should you find this difficult, there's another way. If you got the shoulders established, you can put it in the vise. Put it in like so. I can see you gotta push it a bit that way, so I can pull. Okay, good. I'm going to leave it at that because I want to set the jaw once everything is assembled, so I can actually set it, keep the other jaw cold, and just set it like that. It's just going to be much easier. So this is the setup for now. What we can do then is start isolating the boss area. A cross peen with a round peen is advisable at this stage, rather than one that is flat. Okay, whereabouts do I look for? I look for about a bit round. So about a cube I look for, so say to take about this or so. This should be okay. Depending on how you let this come out, this comes out a little bit oval, so I can use an oval punch in order to create that eye. You can use a round punch if it's a bit more round, but in this case I would simply go with an oval punch in order to make that eye. Alright, bring it to here. So I need some material for the jaw. Let's say if I gauge that, about the same length, quite similar thickness. Say I go for about this, and about this much for the boss area. Say it was about this much, right? So right about there. It's about 5/8 shorter, so 5/8 minus 8. Actually it's the other way around, otherwise, well, it still works out, but you got the negative. So half. And then one of that, so we're looking at 18.5 centimeters that I'm going to take for this. That should give me plenty of material for that second half, because I'm not trying to make it the same size and everything in terms of jaw width and everything, like the box. That one requires extra material, this one doesn't. Okay, we gotta be there. Okay, for the jaw I take about, I say this much, it should be enough. Let it come over there. I could actually take slightly more if I wanted to, for the same thickness. And the way to do that is to actually bring it here. So you don't try and continue like there, because that could put in a cold shot. Whereas if I put it right over there, just put slightly more material in that. See, about that much. I can extend that length. And then what I can do is I can bring it to here. Okay, we were here, so let that one flat down. We're going to turn it to the left, same as with the other one. And I look for that transition is slightly on the anvil. Not on the edge, but slightly on the anvil. Like so. I can re-establish that, bring it here, and we've re-established it. Alright, let's try and do the same thing as on the other one. So slightly more than just a bit round. So we're just about there or so. Well, that is starting to come close. About roughly the same size. Tong reins are almost exactly the same length. That's nice. Say about there or so. And then I gotta line it up in a similar way, aim for the middle of the bounce as well. The bullseye isn't always necessarily in the middle. And there's the punched hole. There's the plug. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing to the other one. Aim for about the middle as well. Should be about there or so. Set 3 times. And there we go, there's the other one. Okay, now to drift the holes open to make them to size. Alright, same story with this guy. Put that in. Set it. Wait for the heat to creep back in that, which you can see because it cooled it down. And then we can put in the larger one and dry that. Regarding that, similar enough. They're not perfectly similar, but they're similar enough, and there's enough space above here that you can close them without any problem. That should be good. So what I can then do is measure from the bottom of the eye or the top from the eye, whichever you want, and establish the same length on this guy. Actually 2.5 inches. 6.5 centimeters, so about 65 millimeters. That's about the length that I got in there. So that's the length I need for the other jaw. Okay, where are we now? Yeah, we're at the 2.5 range. That's good. I can see that when they close, they can actually hold quite small stock, but I want that opening in the back to be a bit further open. And the way I do that is I actually push back that eye a little bit. So rather than this line goes roughly through the center, I can really change that by moving, the beginning of this eye right over here all the way over to there. That is going to push over the jaw a little bit, and then I can push it back in line. So it opens up the throat of the jaw, so I can actually hold larger stock. Put in a drift as to not collapse the eye. Now I can come back to here and actually push it down some. So what I got right now is that this line that shows up, so that this line right over here is now right over here. So we push the eye over a little bit. Now I gotta watch out here. Do the same for the other one. Push that in there and push it down. Yeah, that's pushed over, that's good. Kind of push that through. Yeah, now we've got a pair of tongs that is much more opened. Okay, time to push the reins in line. I'm gonna go for about slightly out, say about this much or so. Try and do them in line. This is more by eye than anything else. Say I'm going to go for about there. Now the nightmare is doing exactly the same thing with this one and not mess it up. So I'm going to look the other one again. That's about that much. It's going to shift a little bit. Let's hope I shift in the same way. This is about the same angle or so. So I should be able to do it like this. You can see the reins are almost identical, and the way I measure them right now is just measure them from the bottom of the eye to the bottom of the rein. Finish up that work, round this off, make it smooth for the hands, and then it's very important that I clean these reins well, so you know that they are really nice in your hands. You don't want these reins to be rough. That's a bit of a mistake. I don't think you can invest too much time in cleaning up these reins, getting them nice and smooth, because the smoother they are in your hands, they don't have to be perfectly round in a sense, but they gotta be smooth. And the smoother they are, You know, the nicer it is to hold in your hands and the nicer it is to work with. Getting a bit hot. So that's actually a pair of tongs nearly finished. If you look at it, you can see that the jaws actually aren't finished too perfectly and too sharply. And I've done that for a very specific reason. For one, it already holds the stock really well. But also for a second reason. This bar is non-standard. This is just what we have forged. Meaning that this is going to be an odd size. It will not fit the standard sizes. So, when this bar has been used, this is the bloomery steel, the refined high carbon bloomery steel. When this is finished and all the bits of this steel have been used, this pair of tongs then becomes kind of useless. Well, not really, but kind of useless. So, I'm not going to go too far with this, so by the time this is finished, I can take a standard size, heat it up, put it in there, set it to the standard size, and I've got a pair of tongs for the standard size. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll catch you on the next one.